Okay, let's unpack this. For years, we've watched small to medium enterprises, the real engine of the global economy, kind of fight this losing battle against the giants of Web 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
That period, say 2020 to 2024, it's nothing short of a crisis for a lot of these SMEs.
Absolutely. They were facing, massive brand dilution. Their own data wasn't really theirs, was it? It was owned by third parties.
Right. Data scarcity because they didn't own it.
Exactly. And then there was the customer acquisition costs, just inflating like crazy.
Astronomically. They were, like you said, just renting digital space from platforms that kept hiking the price and shrinking the audience reach at the same time.
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is that this crisis really forced a radical shift, a necessary one. Our sources, they all confirm that just continuing to rely on that rented land, it wasn't sustainable fiscally.
No way.
The only real path forward for survival and definitely for growth, it meant a whole new mindset, moving from renting those eyeballs to actually owning the customer relationship.
And that's the internal social network strategy, the ISNS.
That's it, the ISNS.
And the platform that really kind of democratized this huge shift, making it actually doable for companies that aren't, Fortune 500 giants, is Web4.community. So today we're doing a really deep dive into the combined performance of 10 geographically diverse SMEs. These are firms that started out pretty modestly, maybe $1 to $10 million in initial annual revenue. And our mission, really, is to dissect exactly how they used this ISNS model, powered by Web4.community, to get, truly disruptive scaling.
And the collective result, it's not just, validation of the model, it's kind of a redefinition of what scaling even means for an SME. Across this whole group, we saw an average revenue uplift of, get this, 215%.
Wow.
Within just 2 fiscal cycles. I mean, just think about that scale for a second.
215%.
Yeah, this isn't just like treading water or surviving. This is completely escaping the pull of those old platforms that were holding them back. It establishes a totally new gold standard, really, for loyalty and scaling, all built on these proprietary owned networks they created using Web4.community.
That number 215%, it just demands attention, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But before we really immerse ourselves in these 10 specific success stories, we have to tackle that core economic piece.
Yeah.
How did Web4.community make this pivot, which, traditionally would have cost millions in R&D? How did they make it both affordable and incredibly fast?
Okay, yeah, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the platform, it solved the 2 biggest blockers pretty much at the same time. The sheer amount of time it took and the frankly, prohibitive cost.
Right.
Historically, if you wanted your own proprietary network, you were looking at, months of development, minimum, and easily a 6-figure price tag.
Which immediately puts it out of reach for the average SME, right?
Right.
Turns a potential growth move into just a massive upfront gamble.
Exactly. A huge R&D risk. Web4.community just wipe that risk off the table. The sources, they really highlight this revolutionary deployment velocity. And it's not just, quick setup. The platform uses a drag-and-drop API-driven system. So these highly customized branded networks were actually operational in, mere seconds.
Seconds? Seriously?
Yeah. The longest deployment in the whole study took less than 5 minutes. And crucially, this needed minimal technical skill from the company's side.
Okay. That speed alone is a huge competitive edge.
Massive. But while that speed gets you launched, the real genius, the thing that completely de-risked the whole investment and made that 215% growth even possible, is the pricing. The pay-per-active customer model, PPAC.
PPAC. Okay, well, if we don't get PPAC, we don't really get the guaranteed ROI story here. Let's spend a minute on this.
Right. PPAC is really the core innovation, financially speaking. With this model, companies aren't paying for, static licenses or server space they might not use, or even for accounts that are just sitting there inactive. They only incur costs for users who are actually engaged within the network each month. That's a really fundamental difference from, say, Web 2.0 ad spending or traditional SaaS licenses.
Okay, let me try an analogy to make sure I've got this. It's like, instead of paying huge rent for a massive office, you only use maybe 1 day a month.
Yeah.
You're paying like a small concierge fee only when a proven high-value client actually shows up for a meeting and, demonstrably generates business value right then and there.
That is spot on. That's exactly it. The fee is directly tied to measurable value creation. If a user is active, they're doing something that either makes the company money, like a sale, or an upgrade, or saves the company money, like solving their own support issue, or helping another user.
Which means The platform essentially pays for itself almost immediately.
Pretty much, yeah.
If the customer is active enough to trigger that small PPAC fee, they are, just by definition, engaged enough to be generating value that far outweighs that tiny cost. So how does the report confirm this leads to guaranteed ROI? That's a big claim.
Well, because the cost structure perfectly mirrors the value creation. The sources state quite clearly that every single one of the 10 SMEs in the report hit instantaneous positive return on investment, ROI, the moment their network went live. Month one, the minimal PPAC fee was immediately swamped by the revenue generated or the cost saved by that hyper-engaged user base. So it instantly flips from being a potential cost center to an immediate profit center. That's down to the Web4.community economic design.
Okay, let's put that economic engine to the test straight away.
Yeah.
We're going to start in North America. The focus for many SMEs there was using these proprietary networks to really deepen those B2B and D2C relationships, solving big headaches like, support overload and the constant need for content.
Right. Our first stop is Pinnacle Tools in the USA. They're a B2B SaaS company specializing in construction project management software. Their classic problem was kind of twofold. Really high friction, getting new users onboarded smoothly, which led to people dropping off. And just an overwhelming volume of basic tier 1 support questions flooding their, expensive human support team, which really ate into their profits.
Okay, so they executed the ISNS playbook perfectly. They deployed the build hub on Web4.community. And again, that speed is key, yet under a minute.
Under a minute, yeah. Instantly integrated user authentication using APIs they already had. They didn't just copy-paste their knowledge base. They built a dynamic interactive space.
And the impact was immediate.
Dramatic. Because the network was theirs, integrated, users trusted it as the single source of truth. In the very first month, the Build Hub handled 85% of all Tier 1 support questions.
85%?
Yeah. Users just started helping each other out, answering questions in peer-to-peer discussions, using these curated knowledge threads, which are just standard out-of-the-box features on the Web4.community platform.
And that directly translates to that guaranteed ROI you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The sheer volume of support tickets they didn't have to handle meant massive savings on payroll and agent time. The sources actually state the cost savings blew past the PPAC fees by a factor of 4x, so an immediate ROI of 300% on their platform spend just in month one.
300% ROI in month one is...
Wow. Yeah, that instant saving is powerful. But the long-term effect is really what drove their huge revenue jump from $8.5 million up to $28.1 million. That's a 230% increase.
So what drove that long-term growth?
The network just became indispensable. It was the place for sharing feature requests, collaborating on best practices among the power users. This created what the report calls ecosystem lock-in. It slashed their annual churn rate from a pretty worrying 15% down to a record low of 3%.
Incredible. The network basically made the product stickier, irreplaceable.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the B2B SaaS playbook nailed. But what about selling physical stuff when you're fighting that endless battle of, fleeting Web 2.0 ads? Let's move to D2C with Flora and Fern, a sustainable homeware brand, also in the U.S.
Right. Their challenge was different. It was about moving customers beyond just the first purchase. Mm-hmm. And crucially, proving product longevity and sustainability, which is really hard to convey in just, say, one Instagram post, right?
Yeah, you need more depth, more narrative.
Exactly. They needed narrative and trust. So they launched EcoConnect using Web4.community.
And again, easy deployment.
Launched in seconds, apparently by a non-technical marketing manager, which is pretty impressive. They immediately kicked off a sustainable swap challenge. Just a week later, they finally owned the digital space to host that whole narrative.
Okay, so where did the immediate ROI come from here? It wasn't support costs?
No, here it was pure content marketing arbitrage, that swap challenge. It generated this massive organic wave of user-generated content UGC. We're talking high-quality photos, detailed how-to guides, long-form tips from actual users.
So real-world proof.
Exactly. And this flood of authentic content immediately replaced their previously quite expensive influencer marketing budget. Just the reduction in paid marketing spend instantly gave them a positive ROI on the PPAC fees. The network became a profit engine from day one just by generating its own marketing.
And the long-term growth from that.
Staggering, because all this great content was hosted on their own network, which gets indexed by search engines.
Right, SEO benefits.
Huge benefits. Today, 65% of all their website traffic comes from organic search results, driven by that community content. They have 120,000 monthly active users on EcoConnect. They're basically generating high-trust, high-conversion traffic for free now.
That's powerful. Okay, let's head north to Canada. North Peak Energy, a green energy consulting firm, high-value B2B space again.
Their big pain point was qualifying those really high-value leads effectively. They needed to demonstrate complex expertise before getting close to signing a potentially multi-million-dollar contract, which usually meant long, costly, resource-heavy sales cycles.
Okay, so how did the IS&S help here?
They kind of bypassed a lot of that early friction. They launched the Climate Collective with apparently zero IT help needed. They cleverly used the network primarily as a gated resource library. They put their proprietary benchmarking reports in there, the kind of high-value asset that justifies a prospect taking the step to engage.
So you had to join the community to get the good stuff.
Exactly. And this is where the brilliance of the PPAC model really shines in B2B lead gen. By requiring prospects to join the network and thus become an active user to access these valuable reports, North Peak ensured they only paid the PPAC fee for the absolute highest intent leads. These were people who had already self-qualified by actively seeking out high-value content.
Smart. So the platform itself acted as a filter, providing really clean engagement data for the sales team.
Precisely. It let their sales team prioritize perfectly. The sources report the PISN achieved a 3x higher lead-to-opportunity conversion rate compared to their old general website lead forms.
3 times higher.
Yeah. And that immediate efficiency boost in the sales pipeline easily recouped the minimal PPAC fees right away. Instant ROI through sales efficiency.
And that efficiency must have impacted the overall sales cycle time, too.
Dramatically. That efficiency translated directly into faster revenue. The network also became this kind of peer validation space where prospects could see other serious players in the industry engaging with the reports. Long story short, it slashed their B2B sales cycle from an average of 180 days down to just 108 days.
Wow, cut off nearly 3 months.
Yeah, a 40% reduction. That fundamentally changes your cash flow, your staffing needs. It's what allowed them to grow from about $6.1 million to almost $16 million.
Okay, one more in North America. Codecrafters Academy and EdTech Company. Their core problem sounds pretty typical for that sector. Those notoriously low course completion rates, they were stuck at 45%, and that constant pressure to prove job placement success to attract the next cohort of students.
Right. EdTech lives and dies by outcomes. They basically needed to wrap an entire ecosystem around the curriculum itself. So they deployed SkillForge instantly using Web4.community. The goal was to connect current students with alumni mentors and also with relevant job postings. They created a compelling reason for students to stay connected and invested, even after the last official lecture ended.
And let me guess, the PPAC economics lined up perfectly with student retention.
You got it. Retention is the key revenue driver in EdTech, right? Costs only went up as students actively engaged participating in mentorship forums, looking at career opportunities. And that increased engagement led directly to an immediate measurable drop in students requesting to drop out.
Okay, so the ROI calculation here is pretty straightforward.
Super straightforward. The revenue saved just by retaining even a handful of high-value students in that first month easily exceeded the tiny PPAC costs for keeping those engaged users active. Instant positive ROI purely through retention revenue.
That's clever. And the impact on their actual educational outcomes?
Transformative. Course completion rates just skyrocketed from that dismal 45% all the way up to an incredible 85%.
Huge jump.
Massive. And what's more, the active alumni networking happening within SkillForge created this sustained, significant increase in organic, high-quality referrals for new students. The community didn't just support the product. In many ways, the community became the product, and that fueled their overall 173% revenue growth.
Okay, let's cross the Atlantic now. We're heading into Europe. Here, the focus seems to shift a bit towards managing those high-value, maybe more secure and complex technical interactions. This really highlights the robustness of the Web4.community solution for specific B2B needs, like data sovereignty and precision.
Absolutely. We kicked things off with Maschinenbau 4.0 in Germany, a B2B leader together making high-precision industrial components. Their challenge was global. They needed a really controlled, totally secure environment for highly specialized engineers working across different clients, different partners, to discuss sensitive technical documentation.
Right, you can't just use public forums or insecure email chains for that kind of stuff.
Definitely not. So they deployed Precision Loop in minutes using Web4.community. Because the platform provides things like advanced discussion threading and secure file sharing right out of the box, built on a private architecture, they immediately solved their compliance and security headaches.
Okay, solve the security issue. Where did the immediate ROI come in?
It was immediate and tied directly to optimizing their payroll. That network instantly diverted 75% of all their highly technical support volume away from their most expensive, specialized support engineers.
75%.
Yeah. So instead of paying, say, a $150 an hour specialist engineer to answer a question that might be common among peers, a peer answered it instantly within the network, costing just that tiny PPAC fee.
Huge cost saving.
Massive. This savings from reduced resolution time and shifting that workload generated an instant ROI on their platform spend. But the long-term success really transformed the company. Precision Loop now attracts something like 55,000 global manufacturing engineers. This facilitated real-time collaborative product development that, according to the report, led directly to their huge 220% revenue surge, growing them from $9.5 million to over $30 million.
Wow, so it went way beyond just support. It became a co-development engine.
Exactly, powered by their own private network.
Okay, next up, still in Germany, is Heimatart. They're an artisan e-commerce company selling high-end premium products. Their challenge sounds like classic luxury retail. How do you build that deep authenticity and narrative needed to justify premium pricing in what's often a very crowded online market?
Right. They needed to somehow close that perceived distance between the consumer and the actual producer, the artisan. So they launched Maker's Table again effortlessly on Web4.community, specifically to host video content and live streams. Think like virtual farm tours, live craft demonstrations, maybe recipe sessions, all conducted by the artisans themselves. Direct connection.
Okay, really bringing the story to life. How did that translate into immediate ROI, higher conversion rates?
It was actually measurable through average order value, or AOV. The sources show that for customers who actively engaged with that live community content, watched the streams, participated in chats, there was a clear immediate increase in their AOV on subsequent purchases.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, it proved the network was functioning instantly as a high-conversion sales channel, directly offsetting the PPAC fees through higher basket sizes from engaged users.
Makes sense. And the long-term loyalty impact.
Unprecedented, really. By deeply involving customers in that production narrative, making them feel part of the story, Heimatart increased their average customer lifetime value, CLV, by a staggering 180%.
180% CLV increase.
Yeah. That was actually the highest percentage growth in CLV recorded across the entire report. It just shows the immense power of owning that narrative and building direct connection.
Incredible. Okay, let's head south to Spain. Experiencia Viva, a regional tourism tech and booking platform. Their pain point sounds familiar. Losing users to the big online travel agencies, the OTAs. People would research on their site, get inspired, but then book elsewhere, meaning Experiencia Viva lost the commission.
Yeah, a classic leakage problem. They needed a way to lock in that customer intent on their platform. So they set up the local navigator again, super quick setup using Web4.community's flexible structure as an interactive trip co-creation platform. So travelers didn't just browse pre-made itineraries, they actively collaborated with each other and with local experts to build highly customized trips together.
Okay, that sounds engaging, but also maybe a bit more effort for the user.
Exactly, and that's the key. This is another perfect tactical example of PPAC aligning perfectly with high intent. The very friction involved in actively co-creating a detailed trip meant that only the most serious, high-intent, high-value travelers actually bothered to use the network extensively.
Ah, so the platform self-selected the most valuable users.
Precisely. Experiencia Viva only incurred the PPAC fee for these super qualified users who were already deep in the planning process. This instantly maximized their conversion efficiency.
And the immediate ROI.
Right.
directly from bookings made by these engaged users.
Yep. Immediate, measurable ROI coming straight from booking commission revenue generated within the network. And that focus on high-intent users paid off massively in the long run, too. The conversion rate for users active in the PISN actually doubled, jumped from 3.5% to 7.0%.
Doubled the conversion rate.
Yeah. They fundamentally shifted their entire customer journey away from just passive research towards committed, high-value co-creation.
Very smart. Okay, our final European example. AgriConnect 360, also in Spain, a precision farming sauce provider. They faced a really unique challenge, fostering a high-trust, collaborative space for commercial farmers to share extremely sensitive data, things like yield numbers, sensor readings data that directly impacts their bottom line.
Yeah, trust and security were absolutely paramount here. Farmers are naturally competitive and cautious about sharing that kind of operational data, so they deployed Terraform instantly, leveraging Web4.community's secure, closed architecture. That proprietary network environment guaranteed that all the sensitive data shared among farmers stayed internal, protected, and completely inaccessible to outside competitors or any third-party platforms.
Okay, security handled. What about the immediate ROI? How do you measure the ROI of trust?
Well, here it translated into tangible, almost life-altering value very quickly. The report highlights early discussions among active farmers on the forum about tackling regional pest outbreaks or soil anomalies. Through sharing knowledge and real-time observations within the trusted network, they collectively solved crop issues for dozens of members.
So direct economic benefit for the members themselves.
Huge, quantifiable value. The value created for those farmers measured in saved crop value instantly and massively outweighed the minimal PPAC fee for their activity. So the ROI was secured immediately through that perceived, very concrete customer value and the trust it generated.
And that kind of irreplaceable value must lock people in.
You bet. This high level of concrete essential value resulted in a truly staggering contract renewal rate of 98%.
98%.
Yeah. The report explicitly notes that the Terraform network itself, not just the underlying sauce software, became the core reason customers stayed. Farmers simply couldn't risk leaving a knowledge base that was actively saving them money and protecting their harvests.
Wow. Okay, let's shift continents again. Now we focus on India. Here, the story seems to be about how Web4.community's lightweight, reliable structure was really key in scaling community-based trust in scenarios involving high volume and high stakes, like fintech and large-scale consumer wellness.
Exactly. Let's look at case study 9, Farrat Pay Micro. This is a really critical micro-lending firm. Their enormous challenge was managing lending risk and building trust among low-income microloan recipients, people who often lack any traditional collateral. So risk mitigation is absolutely central to their entire business model.
Right, a very tough environment to operate in. How did the ISNS help?
They launched Sathi Samudra again. The report says under a minute, conceived as a peer-to-peer vetting and support network. They immediately leveraged the platform's built-in security features to ensure user privacy, while simultaneously facilitating a sense of communal accountability among the borrowers.
Communal accountability. Interesting. How did that deliver ROI?
It provided immediate financial ROI. That community structure, where peers had visibility and offered support, instantly led to a significant reduction in late payments among the active members. Just in the first month, the decrease in default risk, which is a direct reduction in financial liability for part-pay, easily covered the PPAC costs. Instant ROI through direct risk mitigation, improving their balance sheet health right away.
That's powerful, using community to de-risk finance.
Yeah. And
the longer-term impact.
That initial success was the foundation for massive, responsible scaling. The network drove an incredible 92% repeat borrower rate.
92% repeat rate.
Yeah. And maybe most critically, it reduced their historical default rate by 5 full percentage points.
Wow.
That core reduction in risk is what enabled them to scale profitably, achieving a 249% revenue increase, growing from $5.5 million to $19.2 million. They effectively used their proprietary network as a scalable trust mechanism.
Amazing story. Okay, finally, let's look at Arogyapath in India, an Ayurvedic and holistic wellness products company.
Their challenge was twofold. First, validating the long-term effectiveness of their wellness products, which often requires time and shared experience. And second, because health is such a sensitive topic, they needed to create a high-trust, proprietary environment for these discussions, far away from the sort of noise and misinformation you might find on public forums.
Right, a safe space for genuine sharing.
Exactly. So they created the Wellness Circle effortlessly, again, using Web4.community, specifically designed as a mobile-optimized community, perfect for their large user base in India. Their main goal was generating high-quality, authentic social proof that they could then own and control.
Okay, social proof. How did that generate immediate ROI?
Through marketing efficiency and enhanced credibility. In the very first week after launch, the Wellness Circle generated thousands of authentic, detailed health testimonials and user success stories.
Real stories from real users.
Exactly. This flood of genuine social proof instantly boosted click-through rates and conversion rates on their main e-commerce website. In fact, the quantifiable value of this instant owned marketing content was so significant that the company was able to reallocate its entire paid advertising budget.
Their entire paid ad budget.
Their entire paid ad budget. They shifted it towards product development instead. The community essentially became their marketing engine, providing instant ROI that way.
That's a huge impact. And the scale they achieved.
Phenomenal. The PSN grew to 250,000 monthly active users. And these users, just by sharing their experiences and linking back to the trusted testimonials within the circle, generated over 15 million organic social impressions annually.
15 million impressions organically.
Yeah. They stopped being just another product company. They successfully established their brand as the authoritative hub for Ayurvedic wellness, all through their own platform.
Okay, wow. 10 incredibly diverse global success stories. So what does this all mean when you put it together? Let's try and synthesize the quantitative impact across the whole cohort. Because, as you said, the aggregated averages really confirm the predictable nature of the scaling model.
Right. Let's start with the headline number. Average annual revenue. For this group of 10 SMEs, it went from an average starting point of $5.89 million to an average ending point of $18.81 million.
$18.8 million.
Yeah, that's a collective audited growth rate across the board of 219%, just market-disrupting growth.
219% average growth.
Right.
But what about loyalty? That seemed key in many stories.
Oh, absolutely. The loyalty metrics are, you could argue, even more compelling for the long term. They really show the power of that ecosystem lock-in we talked about. The average customer retention rate across the group increased from 82%, which is okay, but not amazing, to a stunning 96%.
96% retention.
That 14-point jump is huge. It means once that community becomes truly core to the product experience, whether it's sharing critical farming data like AgriConnect or accessing essential support like Pinnacle tools, the customer simply cannot afford to leave. It becomes too valuable.
And on the efficiency side, you mentioned sales cycles shrinking.
Big time. These internal networks acted as really profound sales accelerators. The average sales cycle length across the cohort was reduced from 135 days down to just 81 days.
81 days. That's a 40% decrease.
Yeah, 40% reduction. And that was clearly driven by the self-qualification and the instant nurturing happening within the networks, like we saw with North Peak Energy's dated content or Experiencia Viva's co-creation platform. Prospects essentially warmed themselves up.
And we have to reiterate those core Web4.community advantages that enabled all this.
Absolutely. The promise of the platform was just validated again and again in the data. Deployment time. Consistently under 5 minutes for every single one of these diverse businesses.
Incredible consistency.
And crucially, that platform ROI. Immediate. Month one positive ROI was the norm, not the exception, guaranteed by those built-in safeguards of the PPAC economics. No waiting years for payback.
So beyond just the numbers, the qualitative shift here seems to be this fundamental reorganization of the entire customer journey. These proprietary internal social networks, they don't just add a new feature. They seem to fundamentally rewrite how a customer interacts with the brand. The comparison data you mentioned showed this clearly.
That's exactly right. Let's walk through that journey transformation. Take the awareness phase. Traditionally, brands rely heavily on expensive, often low-converting paid ads on external social platforms, right?
Throwing money at algorithms.
Yeah. That got replaced by organic reach that stemmed directly from the PISN-generated, indexable, user-generated content. Marketing built on high trust, not high spend, like Flora and Fern achieved.
Okay. Then for consideration and evaluation, moving beyond the corporate website.
Exactly. Customers weren't just reliant on static, often biased company websites or maybe anonymous review sites. They shifted to engaging in peer-to-peer discussion and seeing expert AMAs right within the network. This offers really transparent validation. Think of those engineers discussing technical specs in Precision Loop, or the farmers sharing real yield data in Terraform. It just rapidly accelerates the trust curve.
Makes sense. And loyalty. moving beyond support tickets.
Yeah, loyalty used to be this game of managing costly email campaigns, handling expensive support tickets one by one. Now, loyalty gets automatically generated and powered by free, instant peer support and ongoing product mastery discussions happening within the network itself. That leads directly to that near-zero churn we saw, like the 3% rate at Pinnacle Tools or the incredible 98% renewal rate at AgriConnect. Loyalty becomes an outcome of engagement.
And finally, advocacy, getting customers to spread the word.
Right. Instead of those awkward manual "please review us" requests, advocacy shifts to spontaneous, enthusiastic sharing happening naturally within the PISN and often spilling outside it too. And that generates massive organic reach, precisely how Path clocked up 15 million organic social impressions annually without spending a dime on external distribution for it.
The evidence really does feel overwhelming when you lay it out like that.
It is. The central theme from this whole deep dive is pretty clear, I think. The era of relying solely on third-party algorithms and, rented digital space for sustainable growth, it looks decisively over. These 10 global SMEs, they've provided a new and, crucially, a predictable roadmap for achieving really unprecedented scaling, customer fidelity, and even significant risk mitigation.
And the Web4 community platform clearly served as that critical catalyst, that accelerator. It transformed what used to be a really complex, high-risk, high-cost investment in community into something that looks much more like a guaranteed revenue stream.
Yeah, that combination of instant deployment, basically zero development risk, and that pay-per-active customer model. That's what paved the path to hitting over 200% growth for this entire group.
They effectively moved their customers from just being transient targets in an ad campaign
to becoming genuinely irreplaceable members of a valuable community. Right. It's a fundamental shift.
So, given everything we've unpacked today, since these internal networks deliver immediate ROI that's directly tied to user activity and, in some cases, even risk reduction, we have to leave you, the listener, with one final thought. Consider how your current reliance on external social media might actually be masking deep customer loyalty that you're currently just giving away for free to those platforms. If the model proves you only need to pay for your customers when they're demonstrably active and engaged within your own environment, what essential value are you currently letting third-party platforms skim right off the top of your most active, most valuable customer relationships? Something to think about.